Hello, Guitar Smarts fans. Before you check out this podcast, I want to make you aware of a cool new place where you can interact with other Guitar Smarts listeners. It's a Facebook group called the Guitar Geek Hangout. That's where we hang out and talk about all things guitar. So, if you like the Guitar Smarts podcast, come and chat with Kieran and myself over in the Guitar Geek Hangout on Facebook. Maybe check out some pre-podcast clips and even get involved in asking and answering lots of questions from the other page dwellers. Hope to see you there.
I tried that exact guitar.
Yeah.
I've still got pictures of it on my phone. And I cannot tell you how close I was to buying that. The only reason, it was honestly that good. It was sensational. Wow. It was the sound of it, the timbre of it, even acoustically, it resonated in a beautiful way, and plugged in, it just absolutely was so versatile.
Wow.
Such a great session guitar. I still think about it. It was, honestly, I do.
It's so melancholy.
No, it's not. It's because it's there, and it's like, just come and buy me, and I'm like, yeah, why don't I buy you?
Yeah.
But I have an addiction and an illness to guitars, so I can't keep buying. Can't just keep buying guitars.
Greetings, welcome to another Guitar Smarts podcast. Thank you very much for downloading. This week, Kieran and I are having a chat about Black Friday. We recorded this on Black Friday, so we were just having a quick chat about some of the bargains and some of the deals that are out there. But mainly what we're discussing this week is some of the lesser known guitar brands and luthiers that are out there. Now, in the UK, there are some fantastic luthiers who maybe don't get enough said about them, and we wanted to kind of raise awareness of some of those guys this week, and also some luthiers and guitar companies that are well known but don't get their name talked about enough as well from outside the UK. So talking about those guys this week. So after listening to the podcast, go and check these guys out, go and follow them on social media, give them a bit of love, and go and enjoy looking at some of the fantastic work that they do. Remember to come and follow us on our social media pages. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just go there and search for Guitar Smarts. If you'd like to support the show, you can buy some merchandise from our Etsy store, or you can go and buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. The links for those are in the description. But the best thing you can do to support the show is always to go and leave us a rating or a review in your favourite podcast application. That really does help us to get into the ears of more guitar players who are looking for guitar-based podcasts. Anyway, that's enough waffle from me. Let's get on with the show. Cool. How are you doing, bud? You well?
I am really good, mate. I am feeling good to be properly back.
Yeah.
I know we were kind of back in the last week or so, but I think I was definitely still nursing the end of COVID. But no, I feel back and in really good mood. How about you?
Yeah,
how
good. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling good. Yeah. I'm feeling almost Christmassy. Christmas is on its way. I can just hear those jingle bells starting to happen. The Coca-Cola advert's been on the TV, so it's officially Christmas now. So
they've gone too early, mate. I mean, look, it is still November.
Yeah, Christmas decorations have been up for a week, so you can't.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, when this goes out, it will be in the middle of December. We should say we're recording this on Black Friday, so
we are.
Yeah, it is a bit early for Christmas decorations, but I don't care.
Well, and look, and nor should you, mate. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Scrooge. I love Christmas. Absolutely love it. I'm all about it. I'm literally doing everything within my power to stop myself eating mince pies because they're like the best thing in the world. For our international listeners and people in America, it's a sweet pie. It's not made with actual mincemeat. It's made with raisins and alcohol, and they're just epic. But they're a Christmas thing, and I will, quite happily devour probably at least 100 over the next few weeks, and that can't start until the 1st of December.
With a bit of brandy butter, maybe.
Oh. I've never had a mince pie with brandy butter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I thought that was what people did. I'm not a fan myself. I'm not a fan, but that's apparently what people do. I thought they had mince pies with like brandy cream or butter or something.
That's a northern thing, I think.
It probably is.
Yeah. Cream, some pouring cream.
With brandy in it. Yeah. Flammable cream, basically.
Welcome to the Alternative Guitar Smarts podcast. Today we were mostly talking about Christmas desserts.
Culinary delights of Christmas. Yeah. Anyway, shall we move on?
Mate, we've got so much to talk about today. I don't know whether we're going to be able to do it all, and you're going to have to rein me in from going off on various different tangents and rabbit holes, because I'm a little bit excitable today because I'm feeling good.
Well, I think that's why people tune in, to be honest, Kieran. It's your rant.
my ramblings.
Your ramblings.
Wow.
We should call it guitar ramblings instead, man.
We should call it guitar ramblings. Right, come on, focus me.
Okay, so let's start with Black Friday, okay? Because like I said, I mean, this is probably going to be available to the dear listener in sometime in December, right? But we are here on Black Friday. We're having this conversation today on Black Friday, and there's some good deals out there. I've been having a look this morning, and there's some pretty good deals out there for people. What have you seen? Have you seen anything good today that's taken your fancy?
I've seen a load of stuff. I mean, on the guitar front, I'm really trying to rein myself in and not buy anything much at the moment, if anything. But I mean, all across the board with electronics and AV stuff, there's lots that's exciting me. But guitar-wise, there is some absolute bargains to be had. I mean, it seems now like everybody is doing the Black Friday thing, right? Started in the US. It's part of the whole Thanksgiving weekend thing, which we should acknowledge because it's Black Friday, but it's also Thanksgiving, for our US listeners. So happy Thanksgiving to you all. But now it's come over to the UK as well in the last few years. And I think every major online retailer is doing something to do with Black Friday. And then they've got this thing called Cyber Monday now as well. So it continues through the whole weekend, includes Monday. And I'm sure it continues for another week afterwards as well. It's just a kind of big pre-Christmas sale. But look, I think there's a few things that I've seen that I've gone, oh, that's really good value. And there's a few things that I've seen where it's like maybe, 10, 20% off here or there, which is nice. And if you're after something that you've been, kind of hankering for a while, great. That's the right time to buy it with 20% off. But some of the stuff I'm looking at as well, I'm going, well, if you're a bit savvy and you go into your guitar shop or you just give them a call and do a little bit of haggling on the phone, then you could probably get it for that price anyway. But I have seen a couple of things that I'll show you that I thought were pretty good. So let me, how should we do this? Let me paste into the chat function, shall I? What I'm exactly looking at. So here is something that I thought was an absolute bargain, and it's not a particularly prestigious brand. It's on sale at the Guitar, which is an online retailer based in the UK, and it's a Cort guitar, right? So if you ever look in the chat and click on that, I mean, Cort, made out in Indonesia. They've got a huge Indonesian production factory over there. They cater for all kind of tastes, right from budget up to some pretty decent premium models, but then you're not going to get into the super expensive range. But this Cort guitar that I've seen is, I think that it's basically half price, right? So it normally retails for about £525. So about $650, something like that, $700. And they've got it on sale at £249 as part of the Black Friday deal. So that's like a saving of £300, really. That's
unbelievable. That is unbelievable, especially when you know that, guitars are in, generally quite actually low margin for guitar, for retailers. There's not actually a huge amount of money made on guitars for big companies like Guitar and Ansons and such. They probably make most of their money on things like guitar strings and accessories at a high margin. But so to see a deal like that is unbelievable. I mean, it's more than half price.
It is. It's a huge amount of money. And we're talking now towards the kind of mid to premium end of stuff that Cort do. And this has got stock EMG pickups in it. It's the Cort KX300 in this finish, which is called etched black gold, which just looks absolutely superb. It's like really It's like the grain has really just popped. It's not like a gold finish.
No.
It's kind of like an oiled black finish, but where the wood grain has really been lifted out with this almost yellowy gold hue. It looks absolutely beautiful.
It almost looks like tiger stripes, doesn't it, in a way? It's very cool. Very nice guitar.
A very, very beautiful looking guitar, and a lot of guitar when you think you can get this for 250 UK pounds. And I think that even is free delivery off that website now. And it's got stock EMG pickups in it. So it looks like a monster. The only thing, I mean, I would absolutely just jump and buy that. The only reason that I haven't is because it hasn't got a trem. It's a fixed bridge. Yeah. And and I don't really need another fixed bridge guitar. If that had a trem, even for another 20, 30 quid, I would be all over that, and I'd just buy that, because that's just a great amount of guitar for the money.
Pretending you have some kind of restraint. He says, sat in front of 17,000 guitars.
Well, should just buy it anyway. Should we just buy it? Let's just buy it. Let's just buy it. It's 250 quid. I mean, and it's very pretty.
We'll come on to it later on, but I want to speak about Court later on.
Do you?
I do.
Good.
Yeah,
okay,
I do
cool.
want to speak about Court, but that's a great deal.
That's a great deal. So look, I mean, there's plenty of deals out there. I mean, as well in the US as well. I've had a look on like Guitar Center, and everywhere's got like 20% off and stuff like that going on. Amazon's doing some great stuff. I've seen a good few pedals which are going for a decent price in the UK. So, but that was probably my standout one. But I would say, it's nice to see actually that all of the retailers are doing something for Black Friday, and you can save, anywhere from 10 all the way up to like 50-60% on some of the stuff that's out there at the moment. But that Court is my pick of the bunch for today.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I noticed as well, and I think I messaged you about this yesterday. Guitar again, and obviously we don't have a preferred retailer on the podcast, obviously, but there are some go-to retailers here in the UK, and those are generally people like Guitar Village, Guitar, Andertons, all those guys all have really great websites and good deals. But I noticed on Guitar that they had a Black Friday sale on PRS SE acoustics, which are fantastic acoustic guitars. And I think they've got kind of 25% off on some of those acoustics. So some good deals to be found there. If you're looking for a new kind of mid-range acoustic that's really well appointed, not just a basic acoustic, something that actually looks beautiful, plays really well, and is a little bit unique. Go and check out these acoustics. By the time people are listening to this, it's about 3 weeks after Black Friday. But still, I noticed that those are great guitars that were available on Black Friday at a really good price, and it's nice to see, certain ranges of guitars getting, better. When we think of PRS, we don't always think of their acoustics. So to see those ranges of guitars getting looked at more is really nice, because they make fantastic guitars. Those PRS SE acoustics are brilliant.
They really are. I was, before the whole lockdown thing, I used to do a lot of traveling to the States, and I used to be out there a few times a year with work, and I think it was it was San Francisco. I'm trying to think whether I was in Chicago or San Francisco at the time. I think I was in San Francisco, and went to the Guitar Center there and tried out a bunch of stuff one afternoon, and they had some of the PRS acoustics there, and I had tried one out, and I was blown away. It was absolutely beautiful. It was all that you'd come to expect from PRS in terms of quality and craftsmanship and fit and finish in a beautiful acoustic. They were really, really lovely. Very impressed.
Fantastic. Well, that's just the thing, right? When you think of PRS, or at least what I think of PRS is quality control. And when you watch videos on YouTube of the factory and the process and the way they do things, the thing that stands out the most is kind of almost an unwavering commitment to quality. To the point where they will happily throw away away some of what you would assume to be the most beautiful guitars that they've made, simply because if it just does not 100% meet the quality that they expect of the instruments that come out of the factory, then they will not let it leave the factory. It doesn't become B stock. It doesn't become a cheaper model. It doesn't, they don't discount it. They only allow a certain quality out. And that is something that I think that permeates through their entire product range.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've never owned a PRS, but I think, I'd like to one day, just because it'd be great to really play an instrument that, has been through that kind of rigorous process, because there's not that many guitar manufacturers out there do that throughout their entire range, that really have a rigorous process. I mean, the big ones do, obviously, but do they do it as well as PRS? I don't know. Maybe that's a subject for another day, but I like PRS for that.
It might be a subject for today, because we're going to be also talking about some other guitar manufacturers that are exciting us at the moment. So let's hold that thought. But I definitely agree with you, Matt. I think I've never owned a PRS because up until now and before the SE range, the kind of more affordable range of SE guitars were really about and available on the market. PRS to me was an unattainable brand because they were beautiful pieces of art as far as I could see, but the pricing of them was phenomenally expensive for me at that point in my lifestyle, in my life rather. And now, yes, they are still phenomenally expensive, but if you look at what now the other big brands are doing out of their custom shops, so what Gibson are charging for some of their custom shop stuff, and even what the prices are like for kind of Fender custom shop stuff, you go, well, actually some of this PRS, private stock, it actually compares favorably in price now. I don't think PRS have had the same level of price hikes or pricing as some of the Gibson and Fender custom shop stuff has for the quality that they're producing. So now you go, well, actually that's pretty good value for money, even though they are certainly hefty price tags on the main kind of signature PRS stuff. But then the SE stuff, I've set up a couple of SEs that have come to me for some kind of tech work on them. And I must say I've been blown away by the SE stuff. It plays beautifully. It sets up really well. And you go, yeah, I can see what people say when they talk about the PRS quality. So yeah, from my limited experience of setting up a few of them for people, I would certainly say, it's up there, and they're definitely. I reckon my next proper guitar purchase, when that time comes, is going to be a PRS. I think I'm going to hold off and
it's about time, because I don't think you need another Gibson or Fender variation. No. How many Les Paul type guitars do you have? I can see 6 behind you. I can see 6 Les Paul type guitars.
Yeah,
I think
that's right. That's right.
Get a PRS, mate.
Oh no, there's 7. There's 7.
Is there?
There's 7. Yeah, there's 2 Gibsons, there's 2 Tokais, there's an Epiphone, and then there's the vintage AFD 100. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, isn't it?
That is 6. Yeah, I just can't count.
Just arithmetic's a problem for you, right?
Clearly.
You need to buy a 7th now because you've miscounted.
I thought I had more than. Oh, I sold one. That's right. I sold one. That's where it's gone.
You sold the Epiphone.
I was thinking, I'm sure I had 7. Like, what have I done with it? I'm just looking under the desk. What have I done with it? I just remembered it. It's the one I sold.
That's so funny.
I sold it.
Forgot you sold one.
Yeah, I sold it. There you go. I hadn't gone completely mad, just slightly mad. Yeah, I was like, where is that 7th one? Yeah, it's gone. It's gone to a happy new owner.
Sorry to interrupt this really interesting conversation, but if you've got this far, maybe you should subscribe to the Guitar Smarts podcast. Pause it here, subscribe, and then come straight back to the show. Let's get back to it.
We're not talking about what I'm going to buy. We're talking about what our listeners should buy.
Yeah, we kind of had this thought that maybe we'd use this episode as an opportunity to kind of inform people of maybe some lesser known, lesser spotted guitar brands across the range of what you can buy. People that are out of the mainstream, not the big names, but people that seem to be, to me at least, and I'm sure to you as well, seem to be making waves, and making really great instruments that people should know more about. And I think, they deserve to have a bit more noise made about them.
Oh, mate, when you start to get into this is a beautiful rabbit hole to jump down, because there are some incredible luthiers that are producing stuff in smaller volumes, obviously, and to varying price points. But I remember going to a guitar show that we were going to go to with the podcast this year. It was actually scheduled to be around about now in the autumn, and it takes place at Kempton Park in just out on the outskirts of London. It's a small kind of tabletop guitar show. And I've been to it a couple of years in a row. But one of the things that it does showcase at that guitar show is loads of UK-based luthiers come to showcase their stuff. And I remember the first time I went there, my mind was literally blown because I hadn't appreciated how many cool, just like guitar makers there are out there doing something really different, really cool, that is exciting and a break from the norm. So, I mean, there are so many, and sadly, we didn't get to go to that guitar show this year because of COVID. It was cancelled. So we can't showcase and mention all of the names of the people that we would have seen at this show. But so we didn't get to go to that guitar show this year. But there are still some really cool, I would say, boutique guitar manufacturers that get me quite excited about what they're doing. And, we won't be able to feature all of them on the show, but there's a few that we want to talk about today, right? That are doing stuff that's quite exciting to us. And then it would be good to hear from our listeners on other brands that we should be covering and other makers that are doing some cool stuff, because this is a great platform to talk about those and learn about those. Because we're always talking about Gibson and Fender and PRS and all of that lot, but let's talk about some other makers.
Exactly that, yeah. So I kind of, when I was looking at this, because there's a few names that have always been kind of, I've wanted to talk about in this kind of conversation anyway, but I'd kind of split this right into a few groups. So kind of what I call serious pro heirloom class instruments, right? So the kind of manufacturers or luthiers that are working to make things that you would buy once in a lifetime because they are just perfect instruments, whatever they might be. They're just incredible examples of wonderful luthiery and, just works of art almost. Oh, it's the kind of thing you'd buy if you were a serious pro. And then there's kind of the mid-range, gig-worthy pro instruments, but we're not talking heirloom class things. And then there's the kind of budget-friendly stroke cheap block of wood range of instruments, which not to say that everything in that group is a cheap block of wood, but there are some interesting names that, that are creating guitars that actually look like nothing I've seen before, for almost pennies, which I'll come to later. But the first luthier I wanted to mention, it falls into this serious pro heirloom class instruments. And it's a company from the UK called MB Guitars, and it's actually just one guy.
Never heard of them. I'm excited now.
It's a guy called Mike Bowes, right? A guy called Mike Bowes, who used to work for Sims Custom Guitars. So Sims Custom Guitars was a relatively, big company in the UK for a while. And Mike Bowes was a luthier for them. And what he creates is vintage-inspired guitars. So he's doing a lot of S-Class, Strat styles and Tele style guitars. If you know about SVL, he's kind of like another SVL, right?
Well, I was going to mention SVL as one of mine. So I'm on the MB Guitars website at the moment, and so I'm having a look.
So he's kind of doing that thing of building Strat and Tele style guitars in a vintage inspired way, in a very traditional way, taking a lot of time and a lot of effort to do things with world class materials. And they're available directly in the UK. You can buy them directly from him. I think he also actually distributes into America as well through a guitar store called Amelia Island Fine Guitars, which are in a town called Fernandina Beach, Florida. Our US listeners, if you like this guy's guitars online, I think you can order them out into the US, which is great. But this is a one-man band who's making what look to me to be some of the finest vintage-inspired relic Strat and Tele guitars that I've ever seen, and he's using Radio Shop custom wound pickups, which are made out in Wales.
Nice.
I think those are beautiful pickups. He's using Goto, Clusion, and Callahan hardware, which is about as good as you can get, you know, from a hardware point of view. But I really wanted to mention him because his social media is fantastic. Some of the pictures he takes of his process, of you know, the materials that he's using, it's just absolutely fantastic instruments. And you know, these are seriously, you know, serious pro guitars. But one of the things that astounded me the most is that, you know, for a Strat style guitar, he's advertising on the website that these things start at £2,900. You know, which is probably going on for about $4,000, but that's actually less than what you'd pay for a Fender custom shop Strat.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, so you're talking serious, you know, you're talking less than custom shop Strat, but you're getting like private luthiery, you know, using best of the best hardware from someone who's been doing this all their life. I think actually he's demonstrating incredible value for money in what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't balk at those prices. I mean, yes, it's a considered purchase, and as you say, it's for a pro player or you know, somebody that is really wanting to buy one of those kind of you know, lifetime, you know, guitars. But as you say, you know, it is beautiful woods. I mean, these are very much designed, you know, I'm looking at the S-style guitars now, and as you say, I mean, the quality of the woods looks brilliant. The relicking looks really authentic. It looks like the fit and finish are just beautiful, and all the components being used are stunning. So I think, you know, if something like this quality was to come out of the Fender custom shop, which is clearly what this is based on, it would be double that price, right? It would be.
Yeah, if you go onto your Andertons, your guitars, etc., and you look at what they have in stock in the custom shop range of Fender guitars, you'd be looking at between £4,000 and £6,000. So we're talking about, you know, he's effectively providing the same guitar, just a different logo on the headstock for a really competitive price. But I think it's a really considered purchase, like you said, but he's making some fantastic instruments, and he deserves, like we said at the beginning of this, these are luthiers and companies that we think deserve to have a bit more noise made about them.
Absolutely. Well, that's a new one for me, MB Guitars, but I think we need a trip down to Kent, mate. Well, that's not too far from us, and
exactly.
And we'll go and check some of these out. So look, in that same, I think I like the way you split up the categories in terms of kind of brackets of kind of premium, mid-range, and more affordable. So I've got some examples that sit into that as well. But I think my I would say comparator to MB guitars is one that you just mentioned earlier, which is SVL. So SVL is literally based down the road from me. I think it's a few miles down the road. From me, and I'm going to get in touch with Simon down there who runs SVL Guitars, because what he's producing, again, like MB, and I hope the guys don't mind the comparison, but I mean, they're both producing these absolutely beautiful guitars that just, you know, have that handmade attention to detail, exquisite woods, exquisite components that just look absolutely phenomenal. And again, at a price point that is, yes, of course, it is a very considered purchase. But if this was to come out of a Fender custom shop, it would be again double. So yeah, really good, really, really, really beautiful guitars. And these SVL guitars are attracting a lot of attention. And I think Matt Schofield is like a huge fan of them and plays them, I think, pretty much exclusively as well. So they need to be checked out.
That's right. Yeah, Simon Law, he's absolutely amazing luthier and trusted by people like Pete Townsend and Robin Ford as the guitar technician. He's an incredible great amp technician as well. And being a big Matt Schofield fan, obviously I've been aware of Simon Law's involvement in Matt's career and as a technician. And I think he based some of his guitars around Matt Schofield's original 61 Strat. So when you're buying one of his guitars, you're effectively buying what he says is a recreation of one of the finest Strats he's ever seen, which was Matt Schofield's original early 60s. But yeah, another person who, when you look at their social media, and because they post on social media media regularly about the work they're doing and the luthiery they're doing. There's somebody who's very keen to post about the detail that he goes into in recreating the vintage aspects of these guitars. And I find it incredible how much detail Simon Law and Mike Bowes go into. That's the money. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for somebody who has an obsessive compulsion to be correct and be detailed and get things absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And that's, that's worth more than the money you pay, really, isn't it? To have somebody like that.
Well, it is. And because oftentimes, yes, you can go and purchase what they've got and made off the shelf, but the beauty of spending this level of money and with people that are producing guitars almost, on an individual basis is you can also then have the opportunity to discuss with them the specifications you would like and have a guitar built, that is really tailored to your own particular attention to detail or whatever you want to get out from it. So, when you take that into mind, then you're talking about things like, the Gibson service for that and the Fender Custom Shop service for that, where you literally go into a guitar shop and sit down and tailor make it to your exact specification. It costs, another 30-40% on top of what they charge for the custom shop stuff. So yes, these are expensive, but when you think about the quality and the craftsmanship that these guys produce and the ability to have something that is very personalized to you. Actually, if you can forego the fact that it doesn't say Fender on the headstock or whatever, you're getting something that is unique. Yeah, cool. Absolutely. And look, SVL Guitars is like literally about a 10-minute drive from my house, mate. We started this podcast and I had every intention of going down there, but obviously with lockdown and everything, I haven't. Yeah. So,
well, we should do that in the future for sure.
That's on the to-do list for sure. Right.
So who did you? What about the mid-range? What about mid-range? If you're kind of like you or me, somebody who may be a pro, somebody who may be just a semi-pro or amateur guitarist, but they wanted to buy something in the mid-range. Who's on your radar for that?
Okay, so dropping down to the next level for a bit. There is a. So I didn't tell you about this, I don't think. So I don't know how I forgot to tell you about this, but back when I was starting out with this rock band that I've been with for the last kind of 5-6 months, I was hankering for some more Les Paul action in my life, and I wasn't really keen to take out the Gibsons, gigging to pubs and stuff like that. So I was looking for something that would kind of fit the bill. We all know that I ended up going for some Tokais through that, and I'll talk about Tokai again in a minute. But during that process, I was kind of looking on Reverb, looking on Facebook, looking just guitar browsing right online as we do. And then these images of these Les Pauls kind of caught my eye, and I was like, "Oh, well, these look beautiful. These look really different. What are these? I haven't ever heard of them." And they were made by a company that I later learned to be a Japanese guitar maker called Bacchus. Never heard of them, but they looked stunning, right? Now, the Japanese are notoriously great at building guitars, right? We all know about Japanese build quality and what the Japanese can produce in terms of guitars. It's phenomenal. A lot of stuff never leaves Japan for the international market because they keep a lot of stuff in country, and some of it gets exported, but some of it doesn't. Now, I thought, well, okay, these Bacchus guitars, I can see them online. Where can I get them in the UK from? So I was looking for like UK, and there's like one place in the UK that I found that was doing these Bacchus guitars. So I typed it into Google Maps and then spent 10 minutes getting very, very confused with Google Maps, because every time I was like typing in this kind of location, it kept appearing with like my home address, like coming up in Google Maps. I was like, no, it keeps mapping my own location. What is it doing? And then it took me a few moments to realise that the UK distributor and retailer for Bacchus guitars was about 200 meters from my house.
What?
Which was just insane. I know.
What are the chances?
Right. So there is a really lovely chap called Joe who runs the Guitar Den, it's called, out of the UK in Hampshire. Let me just make sure that I've got the details right for that. But effectively, it is really difficult to get these Bacchus guitars in the UK, and I'd accidentally stumbled across some of them on the internet, and then found this UK distributor who was based out of the next village. But I got in touch with him and I said, "Do you do Bacchus guitars?" He was like, "Yeah." He said, "Do you want to come down to the kind of showroom and have a look at some of them, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Yeah, sure. I'm only down the road. I live here." And he said, "Well, I live here as well." Anyway, long story. It turns out that we lived on the same road. And so, bless him, he said, "Well, I'll bring a few home with me tonight and then, just come and meet me at the house." So he was very kind enough to make me a cup of tea and let me play some of these beautiful guitars in his house. And I literally just walked there. It was down the road. So I went and tried out these guitars, and I must say, mate, they were absolutely stunning. So I'm going to put in the chat function now so you can see. I'll put the link for the Guitar Den.
Yeah.
Basically, what you've got with these Bacchus guitars, right, is they are made out of Japan, but these are handmade guitars.
Really?
Yeah, these are handmade guitars. So if you start with if you click on the Bacchus Handmade link on the website, and if you look at the kind of Les Paul ones, right?
Yeah, very nice.
But the price point is actually pretty reasonable.
Yeah, very much so.
So these are not mass produced in a kind of like factory kind of churning them out on CNC type thing. These are handmade. They're, as it says, these are absolutely, the real deal Les Paul style guitar, entirely handmade by a Japanese luthier, and they are a replica of the 59 Les Paul, and it's £1,800 for one of these. That's less than a Gibson Les Paul standard or traditional by a good few £100. But having played some of these, the quality of them, I was blown away by. The fretwork was immaculate. The way the nut had been cut was just everything on these guitars was like the attention to detail, and like we were talking about with the PRS quality control, was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, that sent me down a rabbit hole of looking at Bacchus guitars, and they're just fantastic, but they are really, really rare to get hold of outside of Japan. So, but you can get hold of some of them. And if you manage to find some, get them. The other ones that I looked at was I tried a few of the Bacchus Craft series, and these are the G Studio series, which if you look on the link, you can see these as well. I tried both of these out. Can you see the G Studio and the G Studio Ash guitars?
Yes.
Which are S-style guitars, and my God, I fell in love with these.
Really?
And the pictures on the website don't do them justice in terms of what they look like in real life.
That's saying something, because the pictures on the website are fantastic.
They are, but I tell you what, in real life, the wood grain and the kind of appeal of these guitars is something else. And again, these are £1,200 for a handmade guitar. And again, we're talking about the attention to detail was I spent a good amount of time looking over these guitars, and I couldn't fault anything on them in terms of quality control. They were just beautiful guitars. So there you go. If you can get hold of a Bacchus, and I would put that in the mid-range pricing, for a handmade guitar.
Well, the mid-range company that I've kind of got in mind is exactly in the same price range. That kind of mid £1,000 to £2,000. And actually, to be fair, the Bacchus stuff looks to me like it's worth more than they're selling it for. For sure. I'm just looking now at the one you meant, the Bacchus G Studio FM Custom Brown Oil, I think it is called.
Yeah.
It's almost got that kind of Valley Arts, almost, super Strat kind of session players, guitarist look to it. But
honestly,
it just looks perfect, you know.
I tried that exact guitar.
Yeah.
I've still got pictures of it on my phone, and I cannot tell you how close I was to buying that off Joe.
Really?
The only reason, it was honestly that good. It was sensational. Wow. It was the sound of it, the timbre of it, even acoustically, it resonated in a beautiful way, and plugged in, it just absolutely was so versatile.
Wow.
Such a great session guitar. I still think about it. It was, honestly, I do.
That's so melancholy.
No, it's not. It's because it's there, and it's like, just come and buy me, and I'm like, yeah, why don't I buy you?
Yeah.
But I have an addiction and an illness to guitars, so I can't keep buying. Can't just keep buying guitars.
Well, look, I'm going to move on now to my mid-range selection here, and this is a luthier based in the beautiful north of England. I think he's actually based in Chorley, which is right near where I'm from originally. So I'm originally from Wigan, and Chorley's not too far away from there. But this is a company called Fraser Guitars. Fraser Guitars, very small company. Again, like Mike Bowes at MB Guitars. This is a one guy luthier called Dean Fraser. Yeah. Over 20 years experience designing, manufacturing and building guitars and parts, and specialising again in vintage and tribute guitars. So not exactly the same necessarily as MB Guitars. He's a bit more kind of, I'd say, I don't think he's doing everything in a traditional way, but what he produces, just looks the part and really do look fantastic. But I'm going to send you a link now, and I'll put this in the description as well for any listeners. Here's a link to his webpage where he makes some what he calls artist series guitars. So these are, what he tries to do as kind of complete replicas of some famous artist series guitars. So we're talking John Mayer's #1 Strat, the SRV #1, Rory Gallagher's Strat, Eric Clapton's Blackie, Hendrix's Woodstock Strat, and he does all his own proprietary aging. He paints with nitrocellulose. He's making a lot of his own hardware. Yeah. But the pricing, I mean, if you click on the EC Blackie Strat, I mean, even looking at the back picture of that Strat, he's done the damage to the back of the Eric Clapton's Blackie tribute that he's done looks identical to a picture that I've got of Blackie. But it's £1,500.
Really? That's what I was going to ask. How much did that sell for?
$14.95. Exactly. And then there's just kind of his vintage series guitars, which are not tribute. So if you kind of go to on the website, made to order vintage series, look at some of the guitars he does there, some of his designs, some of the colours are fantastic. And he even does some guitars where, for example, he simulated a refinish on a vintage guitar. So it'll have a colour on top like Shergold green, but you can see underneath when he's done the relicking that it was sunburst and things like that. So he's making these fantastic tributes to old style guitars, and they're beautiful looking instruments. And there's some YouTube and Instagram guitarists that I follow that play these guitars, and they just sound absolutely stunning.
They look great.
They're not for custom shop pricing.
No.
This is a guy who runs his own little lutherie. He only takes on a certain amount of orders. Everything on his website says sold out, but that's mainly because once he's taken enough orders for the month, he shuts down. And he just makes what he wants to make.
It's made to order, right? So you can get this, but it's basically I'll make it to order, and I guess you take your place in the queue and you get one of these. But wow,
that's it. I mean, just beautiful instruments. I mean, I'm going to send you a link to a particular guitar now. This is a Strat called the Fool's Gold that he does, and just look at the color, just the color of this Strat. So if you're listening to this, go to Fraser Guitars website, go to the Vintage Classic Series Strat styles and look at Fool's Gold. Look at the color on that gold, and it's got all the cracking of a vintage instrument. And he does this himself. He's worked out all his own methods for aging these guitars, and the color of that Strat. Look at the colour of the fretboard. The fretboard is so dark, and it's a rosewood fretboard, but it's almost an ebony colour. It's beautiful. I mean,
that is an absolutely stunning guitar, isn't it?
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And this is, I mean, again, like I said, the value of this is superb. I mean, mean, he's selling these for less than a standard brand new US Strat, you know, a Strat Ultra or a Strat Elite, whatever the standard US Strat is now. He's selling them for less than that, but they are handmade by him in his own shop from start to finish, and they've got to be worth a look. They've got to be worth a look.
See, I mean, no, I'm not going to go down. But I mean, look, you know what I'm going to say.
Look on your face.
You know what?
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, look, how does the Murphy Lab get away with charging like, you know, 10 grand for a lacquer check guitar when something like this can be produced, which is just absolutely stunning, handmade. Wow. Okay, brilliant. I love that. And I love that choice, Matt, because he's at Fraser Guitars, they've also got this option to have an artist inspired proper copy of one of your idols guitars, as well as the kind of stock stuff that they do. Amazing. Wow.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. I would agree with you. Kind of mid price in terms of, I mean, what you're getting. You're getting a huge amount of guitar for the money.
Huge amount of guitar.
Oh, wow.
So go and check them out, Fraser Guitars. Right, let's. We're nearly at the end now, and there was a couple of brands I wanted to talk about. But what about you? In the cheap range, who was a company worth shouting out for?
Well, I've got a couple more that I want to mention today, and maybe we'll dig into them in a little bit more in another guitar episode. So, just before I dip into the cheap range, there was I wanted to mention James Collins guitars. I will put this in the chat so that you can see. Now, again, this is still very much on the theme of what we've been chatting about, which is guitars that are, they're considered purchase, but the quality of what you are getting is just absolutely phenomenal. So James is based down in East Sussex, and he is producing what he calls these GT and GTO guitars, which are his own design. He's got some, I think he's got like 2 flat top models. He's got 4 carved top models. They are pretty much made to order, right? The appointments on it are, state of the art in terms of the electronics and bare knuckle pickups, but the craftsmanship and inlay work that he's doing and the way in which the binding is done, and more importantly, the tone woods and exotic woods that he's using will give anything from the PRS shop a run for its money in terms of like out and out beauty. These things are absolutely phenomenal. And you've got to go and try one if you get the opportunity. That's James Collins. Again, hand-built guitars in East Sussex in the UK.
They look beautiful.
Mate, so this is the guy that trained me, and I went and did the guitar building courses with. So he does a separate line of his business, which is the guitar setup and kind of parts caster courses that he runs, where you can build your own, which I did with him. He's a lovely bloke. At the time I went to see him, this was only just in its infancy, hadn't even really started yet. To see the transformation of his business and how it's been built up with these guitars and the quality of what he's producing. If you're in the market for a Les Paul and you're looking at kind of Gibson type money, custom shop type money, I would say around the 5K mark, these are expensive guitars. Yeah. But when you look at the quality of what is being produced and how pretty these guitars are, but more importantly, the tone of them based on the components that are being used, these are absolutely stunning guitars.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the pictures on the website link that you sent, and I'm astonished at, again, what is plain to see in the pictures at an incredible level of detail of what he's done. I mean, even just, there's an inlay that he's doing down the fretboard of the guitar that kind of extends into the headstock, and also the cutout on the semi-acoustic, kind of that acoustic cutout he's got on the body is kind of part of that inlay. It kind of moves. It's such a beautiful piece of art.
That inlay that you see running all the way down the neck, that is wood.
That's a wooden inlay.
That is a seam of wood that goes all the way through it's not just like it carved out and some kind of plastic material kind of put in there.
Wow.
That is carpentry. That is absolutely, honestly, mate.
That is unbelievable.
I could wax lyrical about these guitars, and I know James from some of the stuff that he taught me how to do years ago. But yeah,
I'm astonished. I'm astonished. I mean, to our listeners now, go and look up jamescollinsguitars.com and just look at the stunning beauty and the detail that's gone into these just sumptuous instruments. I think it's the best way to describe it. They look absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then, lastly, the other guitar maker that I wanted to say in the kind of cheaper range, which I mean, people have heard of them because we've talked about them a lot. But for me, it's Tokai. Again, it doesn't feature in enough conversations for me. Mm-hmm. And again, they're not very easy to get hold of, certainly in the UK. I don't know what it's like in the States to get hold of Tokai. You can get them if you look hard enough and you find the right places, but the quality, again, Japanese quality on the Tokai. The Japanese made Tokai stuff is superb, better than most Gibson stuff I've seen. And I'm a Gibson fanboy, right? So, what Tokai produce out of their Japanese factories is just sensational, custom shop level stuff.
Well, that's why Gibson took them to court, because they knew they were that good, right?
But now the made in China stuff that Tokai are doing, which is like crazy, like affordable, is just mind blowing. I mean, again, do your due diligence. These guitars are made in China still, which comes at a price point where quality control might not be 100% on every single one. But I've certainly ordered 3 of them, returned 1, and kept the 2, and they are flawless. Absolutely. And I'm OCD about my guitars, right? So they are flawless, absolutely stunning, and they are budget Les Pauls. They're sub £400, £500, and I think Tokai needs to get more recognition than it does. So.
Yeah, man, that's fantastic. I think you're right, Tokai, superb. And my shout for down in that budget, friendly is Cort. You mentioned earlier on, this is why I wanted to come back to Cort, because Cort make fantastic guitars.
They do.
And not only do they make great guitars, but they're actually, I think, quite, they make some good designs that are their own designs as well. Some really interesting looking guitars, fantastic craftsmanship. And if you need proof that they make fantastic instruments, something that people should realize about Cort Instruments is that they're a Korean company. And if you've ever played a PRS SE guitar, you're playing a Cort guitar. If you've ever played an Ibanez guitar that's made in Korea, you're playing a Cort guitar. If you've ever played a G&L guitar that's come out of Korea, you're playing a Cort guitar. They are the go-to manufacturer in Korea for a lot of other companies as well. Squier, Ibanez, PRS SE, these guys, pretty much all the good guitars that come out of Korea are made by Cort because they are so well trusted as a manufacturer. And their own guitars, I think, don't get the attention that they deserve. I don't think, because they make superb instruments.
I think, from recollection, I could be wrong. We might need to fact check this. I think between their operations in Korea and Indonesia as well, I think they're probably one of, if not the largest guitar manufacturer in the world, because, as you say, they outsource and manufacture for a lot of the other brands out of Indonesia, out of Korea. But they have these huge factories with these incredible luthiers that are producing everything from really budget instruments all the way through to premium brands. And so, some of them have got PRS, logos on them. Some of them have got Cort logos on them. So I think they are a huge guitar manufacturer, but people don't realize it.
That's the thing. Then that's exactly why I wanted to mention it. They are worth a look. Go and get your hands on a Cort guitar. You'll be surprised. Yeah.
Well, go and buy this one that we've spoken about for it's like 50% off.
Well, you can't now. That's a Black Friday deal, Kieran, and this will be out in about
I bet it'll still be there.
Oh,
Do you know what? I bet it says they've got 7 available in stock. I mean, those 7 are not going to hang around. Of these, Quartz KX 300 etched black gold.
Yeah,
go and find one of those. It looks stunning.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of not sticking around, mate, I unfortunately have to shoot. But fantastic instruments. The Backer stuff I'm going to look at all day. I think because they look like incredible instruments, and we should get Simon Law. Maybe speak to Mike Bowles as well. Maybe we should get these guys in a conversation.
We should.
But fantastic chat today, mate. Have a cracking week playing guitar, and I will speak to you next week. We've got a big guest on next week.
Yeah, we have.
Come back for that one next week. That's going to be good. We've got a biggest guest. Perfect for the end of the year. It'll be the last episode before Christmas.
I know.
So really looking forward to it. But have a cracking week, buddy, and I'll speak to you soon.
And you, mate. Great chat. Speak to you soon. Take care, mate.
All the best, mate. Ta-da.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening this week. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. Remember to go and search out those luthiers that we talked about this week. Go and follow them on social media. Give them a bit of love. You'll really enjoy looking at some of the amazing instruments that they build. Who knows, you might even buy one. Remember to follow us on our social media pages. Subscribe to the podcast in your favourite podcast app so you never miss a show. And come and listen to us on YouTube. Don't forget, we do put the show on YouTube as well, as an audio-only video. And come and check us out there. But we'll be back next week with a fantastic interview with a big guitarist as a Christmas special. So we'll see you soon. Take care.